We are live.
All right. So the D Day has come. Almost right at the edge.
D-Day is tomorrow, bro. It's not
Oh,
today.
it's today, 26.
Okay, yeah, 12. Mm-hmm.
The last mock exam before we get our certification
Mm-hmm.
done.
Bro.
What happened?
I need to open this 7002. Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
You can read it?
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay, let's start.
Just increase the size a bit. Why don't you do continuous scroll?
What is that?
Like go to, yeah, go to the, no, this one. No, before,
Continuous scroll, yeah.
yes, 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 yeah. Now go down.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Which statement about specialized arc broadly across a project are accurate? Mm,
Okay, double loading. Like every arc, it adds computational.
E.
Yeah, one is E. How many three options you're using to which solution that asking I think D.
Using it avoid which opinion?
For loading its prim until after the stage opens, which is what makes it safe. Like yeah, it adds computation, but premature optimization is just correct. I think in
It
B,
refers
D, and
loading
E.
until the stage opens. This is what makes it safe. It defers loading of its prims until after stage opens.
It defers
That
loading of. Oh wait, take 1 second. It defers loading of
this
its.
is like payload, I would say. It overrides
No,
local
no, no, no. Defers loading of its prims until after the stage opens, which is what makes it safe.
Prims intended to be blocked against any override. Every arc carries computation of previous optimized discouraged over measured impact. Like every arc it has a convert premature optimized discouraged over measured impact.
It's more than 1.7 minutes, bro. What are you doing?
C, I think C.
Like
Not B.
every arc, it adds computation, but premature optimization. What
Fallback
computation?
value. Fallback value, brother. Fallback value. Specializes will have fallback value and it will technically
Computation
have,
means fallback value.
yeah, like value resolution, right? You would have to do value resolution to get the value up for every composition arc that you're trying to define, and every composition arc will have some kind of opinions, right? So like every arc it adds computation, but premature optimization is discouraged over measured impact. Like I don't know, B doesn't make sense because it differs loading of its prims until the stage opens. Like I don't know about that. If you want to do B, you can do B. Like market B as well for you.
Shit is this very confusing.
Yeah, which is what makes it safe. It says which is what makes it safe. I'm like, I don't know about that. B can be also an answer. C can also be an answer.
Defers loading of its prims until after the stage opens, which makes it say until after the stage. No, I think it's gonna be C. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Next question. An asset with its local opinion is referenced into a new layer stack. In that new layer stack, an inherit arc is modified with a new value, and separately a new local opinion is authored. How do these resolve against the referenced assets local opinion? Holy shit. No, sorry, local opinion is reference into new layer stack. Okay. As asset with this. The modified inheritance. The new an inherit arc is modified with a new value, and separately a new local opinion is authored. The new inherit arc is modified with a new value, and separately a new local
B.
opinion.
I think it's gonna be B.
The modified ignored the new local opinion modified inherit cancels. Yeah, it's gonna be B. Nothing makes sense.
If you
But
keep
third,
only one composition arc, which one is identified as the choice? What if you could keep only one composition arc, which one is identified as the choice? And what is the stated reasoning references? Because
but this is an incomplete question. But let's see. Reference because they let you reuse a prim that was defined in another file. Inherit because one change can broadcast every prim in the scene. Payloads because some scenes are specialized. If you could keep only which is one is identifies a choice and what is the stated reasoning. References and payload patterns. So I would go with A, references.
if there is one composition arc you could keep, its payload specializes references. It's definitely not C and D. I
Yeah.
Yeah, I will also go with references actually, but it, I think it could also be inherits. But
Like if it having a multiple choice, but yeah, let's see. I think reference because it lets you reuse the prim that was defined in another file. So I think that is something that I would love to have.
hmm,
Procedurally generated materials may fall outside the existing USD shared validators. What does the note say about handling such cases in validation pipeline? Procedurally generated materials may fall outside the existing USD shared validators. What does the note say about handling such cases in validation pipeline? Procedurally generated materials may fall outside the existing USD shared materials. What does the note say about handling such cases in validation pipeline? Validation means to whenever stage contains procedure contains and validation pipeline customers you can build your own custom validation process contain.
I think C.
Yeah, see.
It's customizable. Validation pipeline is
Yeah, we will look.
customizable because it cannot be skipped. It cannot be
Yes,
unvalidatable, and it cannot be automatically extended.
yes.
Uh, a
The
developer
developer.
compares using a codeful custom schema versus a codeless one from Python. Which statement correctly? Codeful gives type as a well, no. So
Codeless, wait, codeless generates C++ and Python anyway, while Codeful is just a schema plus plugin input or JSON. No, D won't be there. Both produce identical or differing result. Codeless and Codeful relies on string that makes typo easy, while Codeless provide
typed
type access.
accessors and native class or codeless relies on strings which are schema type.
While Codeless relies on strings, it's a schema type name. I think A. I would go with A because you remember we have USD gen schema and then we have to define uh, schemas and everything over there like schema.json, not json dot there was a file I do not remember, but we have to define it in a schema part.
It should be A, I know. But I think, bro, the
but
last
but
option was the most correct, but they have swapped this codeless and codeful. Like codeful was generates C++ and Python bindings, and codeless is just a schema file plugin.
yes. So D would have been an correct option as well if our
Swap
AI.
the Both procedures produce identical. No, codeful relies on strings that make typos easy. No, while codeless provides typed accessors. So it should be codeful gives typed accessors and native class strings such as schema type name. I don't know, bro. A, like, right answer should be A, but I think the options are a little hallucinated, I guess.
Yeah.
A prim currently has its visibility set to invisible, and an author wants it to be shown again in the viewport. Which value should the author set for visibility to accomplish this?
Prim would be second
Uh,
row
Visible,
to be
because that is dedicated value that reveals the previously hidden
inherited.
film. Inherited, because visibility offers only inherited and invisible. Okay, with no separate visible token. Okay.
Yeah.
This was in rendering and visualizing. Which video is this one? I think okay, fifth. I have not done this yet. Damn. Because visibility offers only inherited and invisible with no separate visible token. Okay. An artist removes all model kinds from a scene and finds it still works. What does this illustrate about the purpose of kinds in OpenUSD? Kinds enforce the composition orders or layer, removing them and reshuffle the opinions. No. Kinds are pipeline collaboration legibility
B.
feature rather than functional requirement. Formula. Yes, it's B. When
When designing
designing a factory scene pipeline, what does the node describe as the best time spent and how should access to the full scene be scoped? In
before
parental after export, so pipeline is diagrammed without distraction.
it could
Hmm.
be requiring each stakeholder to match standard before they contribute, getting stakeholder to table early to state their needs since s- some need only an isolated portion, granting everybody access to the entire factory since the touch point is blocked. I think C would make sense. Getting stakeholders to table early to state their needs since some need only an isolated portion.
Yeah, only C makes sense. All the others are nonsense. Within one night scene, an inherits arc modifies an inherited street lamp.
Prim.
An inherits arc modifies an inherited street lamp prim so that to override updates all of that scene's lights to orange. Why does this not change the lamp for every other scenario? What is required for two global update? The inherit modification applies to just to over, so changing the lamp everywhere requires authoring a variant set. The inherits modification is the weakest opinion, so changing lamp everywhere requires promoting no. Inherits modification is the payload that unloads no. On the current layer stack, so changing the lamp everywhere requires modifying the source asset itself. Yes, D. I think it should be D.
DDD. All right. Next.
A DCC application in your pipeline already ships with a USD importer and exporter. What is the realistic expectation about using it for pipeline work? It should be replaced by custom asset dissolver before any data is imported.
What is the real expectation about using
Instructions once every contributor authors their USDA coding can be fired since shipped importers cover this pipeline's requirement.
need to do extended functions once every converter that can be modified and shipped to one port as well. I think D, it can be used unmodified since shipped importers covers the pipeline requirements.
Wait, a DCC application in your pipeline already ships with USD importer and exporter. What is the realistic expectation about using it for pipeline work? Okay. It should be replaced by as custom asset resolver before any data is imported. You may need to tweak it, extend it, or write one from scratch to fit in the pipeline. It functions every contributor, author. It is definitely not CND. It could be A, but A is just
So
for
why cannot
importing.
it be D? That's my question.
It can
D
be
could be,
used unmodified since shipped
yes,
importers
but
cover the.
DCC, because the thing is DCC application or pipeline already ships with USD importer and exporter. If it is already shipping with an USD importer and exporter, then it can
But
directly
how do you
work.
know what the pipeline work is?
So that's the thing, that's where DCC comes in. That's the role that DCC plays. It's a bidirectional
How do you
encoder
know
and
what the
decoder.
requirements are? You don't know the requirements right now.
But it won't. It's not talking about requirements in the question. That is the thing. Like every other, it should be
That's what I'm
replaced by custom
saying.
asset. It should be replaced by any custom asset resolver before any data is imported. So that does not make sense. We why would we replace it with a custom asset resolver at all? So A is also eliminated. Like for me, I will go with D. You can select your option.
Mm, a DCC application in your pipeline is already ships with a USD importer and exporter. What is the realistic expectation about using it for pipeline work? You should basically use importer and exporter. Actually, D does make sense. Okay, let's go D. Let's see. I'm not sure about it. When converting a single source file for different industries, why might one domain's converted output legitimately differ from others? Because relationships have pointers
B.
in one domain, but value type names available change depending on the target domain. What did you say?
B, because CAD is typically not interested in animation while other domains require them. Like this is a textbook question. I would say.
What?
Yeah.
They're not talking about CAD anywhere but in the question. When converting single
But
source
I know
file.
the answer would be B only. The answer would be B only.
Oh yes, I have also I've read this line somewhere.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, I have all this line is
yeah,
in
I know
our
I have read this line as well. CAD
yeah,
is typically not interested in animations while other domains, and I think we have done a question regarding this as well. But
yes.
let me see what it's trying. It's converting a single source file from for different industries. Why might one domain's converted output estimated? Okay, yes, it is. Uh, okay. Which capability does USD view? The tool that ships with OpenUSD provider performs, validates so that USD files are report missing units of measure. D it provides.
Dude, how many are
Hmm.
you trying to do? What capability does
No,
USD view?
I'm just
Oh,
verifying if there is any other.
I provide it validates whether a USD file is valid and reports missing units. Some measure.
And
It
does
provides
perform
measurement
partial or full conversion provides convenience.
data.
Yeah, it's
I
D.
think B would be the answer,
It
not
renders
D.
the data from USD files so you can visualize, debug, and no, bro. You wanna go with B?
Yeah, I will go with B. You are talking about view. You are not talking about validator. Earlier, it validates whether a USD
Oh
file is
shit!
valid.
Yeah. Sorry. That is USD checker, right? What is that?
Yes, USD checker.
Oh wait, yes, you are right. I was too fast.
Yeah.
I didn't read USD. Hmm. Yeah.
Like missing units will be coming from the checker part. or OmniUSD viewer.
A color
Okay.
primer is added to a planar mesh that has one face and four corner points, which two statements correctly state how many color values that interpolation mode requires for this planar uniform primer. Needs four values, one value for the no, constant primer needs four no. Constant
Okay.
primer is satisfied by one value, yes. Vertex primer needs four values, one value for each corner of the yes.
Yeah, D
The
D
face
D. Yeah.
variant satisfy yes. C and D.
Yeah. Which statement correctly characterize variants and variant sets? A variant set is a package of discrete alternative. You can select A.
Yes.
Variant is a single variation with a variant set. Variant set is the weakest fallback. Variant set is from path. Package value variant set is, I think, A
B.
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 B, A and B.
A variant is single variation within a variant set, yes. A variant is a package while variant set is the one chosen alternative from it. No. Okay, yes. A and B. Why is
Why?
performing relocates on sublayers described as tricky, and when is using relocates considered to make sense? I don't think we've done this.
Wait. Oh yeah. This is, we can skip this question. Like it won't
Mm-hmm.
come.
Although it was
Reload.
in the video.
Question 16th.
An engineer is adding API schemas to existing prims in a scene which statement about API schemas are correct. May be applied to no API schemas answer the question of what a prim is. No. Multiple API schemas can be applied to the same prim, correct. API schemas add behavior to existing prims, correct. An
Is it?
API schema can derive from another API schema to form a chain, no. C and D.
API schema add behaviors. Transform, translate. Those are behaviors. Okay. Oh, maybe applied per prem, not per prem. Maybe. Yeah. Are you sure about D? API schema add behaviors to existing prems.
Bro, that is like the most basic statement ever. Like,
Behavior, or do they add something else? I think they add properties, right? Or
brother,
behavior.
they are behaviors.
Okay, okay. You simply want to overwrite an
I'm damn
attribute.
sure.
You simply want to overwrite an attribute with a brand new value that does not depend on the current one. What
Oh,
is
you've
the minimum?
already, bro. I thought you were all reading that question.
No, no,
My bad.
no.
You
Like any
simply
other.
want to overwrite an attribute with a brand new value, and that does not depend on the current one. You simply
I
want
think
to
A.
overwrite an attribute with a brand new value. That does not depend on the current one. What was the minimum you must do? Okay, retrieve the attributes metadata. No, read the current value first, so the new value can be computed relatively. Retrieve the attribute object and call it setter with the new
C, C, C.
CSC.
Yes, C. Clear the default value before new value. No, D can be done, but minimum
Clear the
is.
attribute value before the new value. No, you have to first retrieve the attribute object and call it setter with the
Yes,
new value directly. I just read this.
yes. 18th. Using
Uh,
Hydra plugin development, different delegates plugins can interplay and produce unexpected results. How does tracing the message helps? It's select from
During
display
Hydra
color.
plugin development, different delegates and plugins can interplay and produce unexpected results. How does tracing the debug messages help? It sends the winning display color opinion when delegates author the same prim.
C, C, it batches the delegate changes notifications so the render plugin process them together.
It batches the delegates change notifications so the render plugin processes them together. Different delegates and plugins can interplay and produce unexpected. How the tracing and debug messages help it confirms. C could be an answer, but it confirms the plugin environment variables are set by printing output. Okay. Maths and navigation. Okay. Geometry, materials, and rigging are authored by three artists who must collaborate in parallel, besides giving each department its own sublayer, which described approach is explicitly called out as something to avoid. Letting each artist own their own department's layer, keeping geometry, material, and rigging in distinct layer, relying in a single file, composing each department. I think
Dude,
C, composing each department's contribution to separate layer. Yes.
the describe approach is specifically called out as something to avoid, relying on Git. Oh yeah, Git is never an option only.
Wait, for this one, I'll just mark this because I'm unsure about it.
Okay,
What is the relationship between liver P's and liver C? What?
what the fuck, dude? This is something it hallucinated.
No, bro, wait. This might be in some one of the. They are interchangeable and mean essentially the same ordering. E folding in relocates.
Dude, but E comes before, like E comes in the middle. Like C would be an
What is
answer definitely.
the so the specialized become no drops payload from no interchange? I think C,
Yeah, C.
but it's all right.
We'll
The node
see.
distinguishes the different things you may need to debug in USD context.
Which two situation does it describe? A custom resolver failing to relocate a reference asset during composition. Okay, a custom resolver failing to relocate a referenced asset during composition, a process issue where someone authored unanticipated data must trace a USD application script that outputs something wrong or render dropping frames because USD returned a validation rejecting an asset at the final delivery. The node distinguishes the different things you may need to debug in a USD context. Which system describes it? A,
A and E for me.
a validation rule rejecting an asset at the final delivery process issues. Yeah, A and E would be most appropriate. So a system can
But
use
I'll flag
nomenclature.
this.
Yeah. So a system can use nomenclature that does not match OpenUSD rules, which naming problem does validating the converted asset help catch. Token, special characters, firmware,
What
listen,
source
sorry,
systems can use nomenclature that does not match
we
OpenUSD rules, which renaming problem does, which are not
these
allowed. Yeah, this was
sharing
easy.
yeah.
An author
uh,
is defining a new typed schema. What should not that should
not
not build on any existing domain schema. What base
what
class must the
what
first line
was
of its definition still declare typed. New typed. It must inherit from USD typed for typed schema.
yes.
Yes. Pipeline development. In the demo that moved roughly a million queues, which statements about the scene and the measured results are correct? The SDF change block run cut the
Cut the
times
time to
to
roughly
rough.
half live run.
Might be one. Okay, the scene held more prims than cubes due to intermediate. More prims than cubes due to intermediate XFOM grouping rows and columns and knife traversal that moved each cube up to 10 seconds. The grid contained about 2 million cubes once XFOM found. The full tree of all prims without any strip. I think the question is incomplete.
Wait, in the demo that moved roughly 2 million cubes with statement of scene and measured results are correct. So definitely SDF change block will come over here. Scene held more cubes than prims than cube to due to intermediate X form grouping blah blah blah. No, I think A and E USD view
Yeah,
populated.
USD full
Yeah,
tree of all prims without any struggle.
so, like this would
But
be.
this is not a question. Like this is just some
Okay, just mark it. Then just
observation.
mark it. Mark it.
Yeah. Converted
Con-
fidelity or level of detail should be chosen with the final application in mind, which statements reflect the guidance. Fidelity is fixed by SDF value type names for a application, while apps may sacrifice some level of detail. The source format alone determines fidelity. Format alone determines the fidelity regardless of the target. The source format alone determines the fidelity. Yes, a web app may want high quality rendering in a browser. Every target application receives the same maximum level of detail. Eh, because nothing else makes sense, so I'm gonna go with a CNE. The C, I'm sure.
Every target application receives the maximum level of detail. Every target application receives, okay, target application. Yes, yes, yes. E would be over. Target application, definitely. Target application.
But I'll still mark this. Although I think this would be right, but just to review content aggregation, downstream users reference a deep internal prem such as chair, geo, seat mesh. Why does the content aggregation guidance treat this as a problem when an asset's artist later wants to split seat mesh into upper and lower meshes? Referencing a deep rim creates a dependency on internal structure, so the artist cannot restructure it freely. Referencing a deep rim overrides a default rim. No. Referencing a deep rim forces the payload to load eagerly. No prim duplicates in geometry into referencing. I think A.
This would be an answer as well.
What?
Referencing a deep room creates a dependency on this, so the artist cannot restructure it. When the artist wants to split the seed mesh into upper and lower mesh,
Wait. Referencing a deep rim creates a dependency on internal structures, so the artist cannot restructure it freely. Yes, A.
why does the content aggregation guidance treat this as a problem when the asset artist later wants to split mesh into upper and lower meshes? The deep prim creates a dependency on internal, so the artist cannot restructure it freely. And referencing a deep prim duplicates its
I don't think
geometry
any
into.
of the other options are correct.
Yeah, yeah, my bad. I think it's gonna be A only.
Beyond
Referencing.
reducing rework, when requirements change, what design quality is the two-phase extract and transform approach meant to have for the people who use it? It should defer loading the transient data until consumer explicitly requests it. It should hide transient data. First, cannot read its extract and transform phase. It should be developer friendly for other users. It should require. Oh, but it's only
Beyond,
one
redu-
option, right?
beyond reducing the rework, when requirements change,
It
what
should
design
require
quality is
customer
the two-phase extract transform
system. It should be
to
known. They're kept from
be
altering the stages.
so the developers cannot read it, extract and transfer phase should be developer friendly. I think A, it should defer loading the transient data until no, A won't make sense. Why would it defer loading transient data? Transient data should be, no, A won't be. It extract and transform phases should be developer friendly. It's extract and transform phases.
See,
C would be the most appropriate. Yes.
yeah,
Okay. Uh, 28. The high level debug flags cover the high level USD APIs. Which lower level area does the node say you can also drop into debug flags? Holy shit, USD audio translate, SDF change block to batch leaf changes during traversal, PCB for lower handling, layer stack tab to see which values are getting. Oh, third dude, this is a good one. It says flags cover the high level, which lower. So I think one of them would be SDF change block.
wait.
D.
The high level debug flag covers high level USD APIs. Which lower level areas does the note say you can also drop into the debug flags? I think
SDF change
SDF
block.
change, yes.
And well, I don't
Hydra to
know
understand
one.
rendering,
It could be
maybe.
also there, but I don't know what is PCB over here.
I think USD would be one.
What do you know? What does USD RT does?
Yes, I
Okay,
read
I
about
don't
it.
know. Like I don't.
USD runtime to translate working USD code into faster runtime code.
Okay.
I think it might be one.
Like I don't know about this. Like I don't know what the C does PCP. Because PCP for lower handling of prim index and change processing. That could also be an answer over here.
I don't know. Maybe I might be wrong.
It talks about debug flags, so I would go with C. I'm gonna go with C. You can mark C for me. It talks about debug flags, not
So what does
uh,
debug flag have to do with prim index and
like we are
change
trying to debug
processing?
things, right? We are trying to see on a lower level of what are the things that is happening.
Oh wait, change processing does make sense for debugging.
Yes, so that's why I'm trying to go with C, not A. I don't because, and anyways I don't know what PCP does. Like what is PCP first of all? It says for lower level handling of the prim index and change processing. All right, let's go on to the
Hmm.
next one.
Actually, I'll also go with C because change processing and SDF change blocks are both similar and both
Mm-hmm.
of them are related to debugging in some sort of fashion
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm. Right.
layer stack. What is this? The layer stack tab to see which values are authored at each layer. No.
This is like a high level thing that you can see in USD view. So definitely B won't be an answer for
Mm-mm.
sure.
All right. How do composition and composition arcs differ in OpenUSD? Composition is the remaining renaming of prim paths. Composition is a single operator. The strength ordering of opinions of composition are the layers that hold. No, composition is the process of assembling a D.
B. Yeah. B.
While composition arcs are the operators. How does Omniverse Kit make use of the USD notice mechanism? To respond to change users make disable notices, so interactive edit skip change processing. Interactive edit skip change process uses notices to poll the layer stack for
I
newly.
think I would go with A.
It swaps notices for SDF change logs on every interactive edit. It swaps notices for SDF change log on every interactive edit.
I might be wrong, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
I have no clue. I'm just going with A.
Yeah.
I don't know this question. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Metadata in OpenUSD can be defined at distinct levels. At which level can metadata be authored? In the layer
Layer level
level, where the default prim is a built-in
metadata.
metadata value. I think attribute level, select 3. Composition arc level, where each arc stores metadata about strength. No attribute level,
Layer
including
level
custom
D
attributes.
and
Where standard and custom metadata methods may apply.
D
Yes,
and E.
relationship
D
target level.
relation target level where target level
Why
is
not
shown. But
E? The relationship
yeah,
target
E,
level
E.
will.
Yeah, D and
Yeah,
E. That's what I said. E.
yeah.
A
A
D E.
relationship target level where each target carries its own metadata block. Mhm.
And attribute level does not include metadata.
Name
Yes.
namespace namespace attribute.
Like layer level, I do not remember. I recall having layer level metadata first of all. That's why I'm a bit shady with A.
Wait, layer level where default prim is built-in metadata value.
It says where levels at which levels can metadata be authored.
Authored,
So we're
yeah.
trying to author. So I think A won't be an answer. B would be the most appropriate answer.
Yes. Beyond integrating non-native data and documenting asset structure, which additional responsibilities are listed among common pipeline development tasks? Select exactly two. Beyond integrating non-native data and documenting asset structure, which are additional responsibilities are listed among the common pipeline development. Understanding
Additional
custom asset is always to integrate a version control or asset management. I think A1.
the common developer, the understanding customer integrate.
Tracing PCP prim index changes, representing custom data, all has no toggling of prim instance. Never display color opinion, close multi-layer. I think E representing custom data and metadata which overlaps the customizing USD domain.
Hmm.
Lower level debug symbols. I
Custom
think A and
rendering
E.
color opinion across a multi-layer composition. Non-native data beyond integrating non-native and documenting which additional responsibilities are listed among common pipeline development tasks. Selecting using I don't know, like I think you're saying A and E tracing PCB index changes with lower symbols during interactive editing. Okay, I'm just gonna go with that because I'm not sure about any of these.
Which
The
statement
statement,
accurately describes what references are used for, automatically rename targets prim paths when the data arrives. That is true.
yes.
They are the preferred args for the heaviest geometry and rendering assets. They can be used for times offsetting. They refer loading no, they pull in prims from other layers in your project name. Yes.
Mm.
P.
When mapping the touch points of USD pipeline, how should the producer and consumer roles understood for a given participant? When mapping a touch point of a USD pipeline, how should the producer and consumer roles be understood by? Okay, consumer output the upstream asset to next stage. A single participant may be both. I don't know about this. The originating modeler is a producer, and each later participant is a consumer. I don't know. Like I think C could be an answer. D could be an answer. A participant can be. I think D could also be an answer. But I did recall reading this somewhere.
Participant is fixed as either a producer or a consumer.
Using the TF debug environment variable. You can mark D for me. I might be wrong. You can mark D for me. Uh,
Can you hear the people behind me?
yeah,
You can.
yeah. Like not vividly, but like I can hear some noises though. Using a
These
TF debug environment
motherfuckers.
variable. What does the USD accomplish? Let's go down.
Hmm, 1 second.
D.
Single USD changes symbol within the USD group. It activates the lower level PCB and Hydra TF debug. What does TF debug do?
It comes in change block. SDF change block.
It activates the single USD changes symbol. Are you sure about D?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. I'm sure about D. Like nothing else makes sense because this is something I read in my cheat sheet somewhere. So that's why I'm going with D.
Hmm.
An attribute defaults to 10 on a class prim and a subclass prim authors a local override of 5. The class default is later changed to 11 in OOP. The subclass keeps its 5, which OpenUSD Arc described as closure match OOP inheritance
In
specialize.
OP, the subclass keeps its 5, which OpenUSD arg is described as the closure match to OOP inheritance behavior specializes. How is it inheritance? Yes, it specializes.
Yeah.
A trace exercise presents 4 USDF files, but one of them is included only as a distractor and is not actually composed into the result. What is the recommended way to handle such a file? And why are these trace questions considered hard? Treat it as a payload and load compose a distractor, file source, recognizer, thread herring, It's a red herring that is not composed in because you must trace composition
Trace
entirely in your head with no tools in the
way to handle
exam.
such a file
Alright,
via
bro.
the
I remember this. This is a question. This is just
wait
a statement. It has taken out of context
trace
from the
exercise
first video
recognize that as a red herring, and that is not because you must trace
because
with no tools on exam. What the fuck?
I remember this.
Mhm.
You remember Austin talking about that question?
I
This
do
is
not recall it because I do not recall the video because I haven't watched it lately. But if my cheat sheet has it, then
my statements reflect the recommended practices for structuring a multi-person USD project. Select all that reply. Use references, then payloads for heavy geometry. Establish naming conventions to avoid accidental shared namespaces and inherit frames. Give each term its own sublayer and compose them later. Dump all the project's USD data into one large file so every
no.
team know treat prim paths as binding overrides. Treat prim paths as the binding for overrides since renaming prim breaks downstream overrides. Yeah, I'm gonna go with BCE.
Treat prim paths as binding for overrides since renaming prim breaks downstream overrides. Why not A use references rather than payloads for heavy geometry?
Definitely,
Oh
it's
no no
not
no
gonna be
A,
a.
no 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 A is incorrect here definitely. Okay.
With source
Which
to OpenUSD conversion does the tutorial walkthrough as its primary
OBJ
worked
to
for conceptual data with source to OBJ. Bro, this is not a question. An attribute is given the asset value type and points at an external PDF document. What handles during that reference into something usable inside your user. An attribute is given the asset value type and points at an external PDF document. What handles the file format plugin? I think
I
what
think
handles the
C. I think
turning and that
C.
reference into something usable. Always wrapper we had semantic meanings. Well, I think it is a file format plugin as.
Yeah, it's a file format plugin, but C would be the appropriate answer based on what I have read. A role-based wrapper which adds
Oh,
semantics.
why is it not D? It can be asset resolver.
An attribute is given an asset value that points to what handles turning the reference into something usable inside your USD. Wait, give me a minute.
It can be an asset resolver as well. Because an asset resolver can be a custom file format plugin as well. I think, if
Oh,
I'm not wrong. Mm. What?
I would go with C. For some reason, I would go with C. Because I have read this somewhere, which handles turning that reference into something usable inside your USD. Wait. Which handles turning that reference into something usable inside your USD.
How can you treat PDF as geometry? And why? What's the?
Role-based wrapper. Wait, let me recall. Where does role-based wrapper comes in? Okay, yeah, let's go with D. We'll see. Come on.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm doing a pull up.
Wait, I will look, then I will be back.
Okay. Hmm.
Hmm. 41. Let's
Mhm.
go. An author assigns.
The guide purpose to an invisible prim. The guide purpose to an invisible prim that holds construction geometry used for layout calculations. Assuming a standard render configuration, how does the prim behave? What the fuck is a purpose? I don't remember.
Assign the guide purpose to an invisible that holds construction geometry used for layout. It is not rendered at all.
What is a purpose first? But
Purpose defines like that's what purpose is. Purpose defines what will it do. Like what is the purpose of this prim? That's a metadata class that you will have inside it.
oh, guide. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Like this is something that was in the cheat sheet that I generated. That's why I do remember it. I just read it before our quiz.
mm, when another file references an asset, when another file references an asset, which prim
Which prim
serves as the
serves
designated entry point that
that
reference enters ready for
default prim?
prim.
Yes. Easy. What the fuck? Baki.
Uh, there was a bug.
In work trace, a root prim carries a local opinion, an inherit arc supplying blue, and a reference supplying green if the local opinion is removed. Which arc supplies the result display color and what is the result?
D, I think.
Wait, the root prim carries a local and inherit arc supplying blue and reference. Yeah, D. And live ups. I will be the reference.
Haley's USD opinion trace tool is a separate open source
Open source
utility.
utility.
The statement about it obtained or used are correct. Debugging and
The
troubleshooting.
name is a root layer, and the layer data should come from find it rewrites the winning opinion into root layer. What the fuck, dude? This is what the fuck is this question? A USD, a opinion trace tool is a separate open source utility. You name a root layer. It rewrites the winning opinion. It is a pip installable and run as executable to get a UI window. It takes the place of the version control process.
You name a root layer and layer data should come from and it finds the cause. It rewrites the winning opinion to the root layer once the diagnosis runs. And it's executable to get a UI window. It takes place, it might be C, and then it takes place the version control process for finding who last touched the file. It is open
Yes,
from
yeah, I don't know. I haven't read this. I
it
think it's
is
shit.
opened from inside USD views window menu besides the debug flag panel. Maybe data.
Dude, Haley is the. Oh, I know Haley is one of.
Uh,
Uh,
find the
yeah.
thing A should be your name, a root layer, and the layer the data should come from. It's the cause. Maybe I don't know. This is the wrong question. I don't think it's
You have a string that will be reused many times throughout the code token.
what token. There are three tokens, brother.
Oh,
The fuck?
Why is creating it as a token better choice? Because token resolves a reference or resolve can fetch it, because token interpolates the string value across surface geometry.
A
Because
string
operator.
that will be reused many times throughout a code manipulation and firmware level setting. By creating it as a token, the better choice because the token interpolates string value across the surface of a geometric frame. Token stores resolvable as. I don't know what token does exactly, but what was the token?
You remember token? Wait, I also do not recall the exact definition. But
Wow,
token was,
you just answered it in like a split second. No token.
I do not recall the exact definition, so I do not want to say anything wrong. That's why. Like I saw firmware level setting, and then I saw that string, so I knew the answer would be token, not anything else. Like I'm remembering something, but I do not want to say that thing because it might be wrong as well.
Oh wait, I think because the token wraps the string with semantic meaning describing the role it plays. Yes, resolvable reference. No, I think I'll repeat the token modification. Yeah, I think it's gonna be C.
Mm-hmm.
A rigging team needs models to use renamed prim paths as they are placed into a rig without asking the modeling team to perform those renames. Which arc fits this scenario and at what level does this
It operate.
mm, relocates? Wait. What are these two models to use to
Yeah,
use
relocate.
rename?
That is the only thing
Yeah.
that makes sense over here by the strategy of option elimination.
A large scene is booted with an assets payload left unloaded for a large scene is booted with an assets payload left unloaded for speed. According to the reference plus payload pattern, what can still be seen for that asset without pulling the heavy geometry? The asset's location and the variants that exist and its metadata. Yes, the high resolution polygon vertex data, subdivision surface render time, fully resolved final. Yeah, I think yeah.
The large scene is booted with an assets payload left unloaded for speed. According to reference, which what can still be seen for that asset without pulling in the geometry. Yeah, A would be the answer.
Within the value resolution, what does the term value resolution source refer to? What within value resolution? What does the term value resolution source refer to? The viewer, the layer, the where the value of an opinion originates. Maybe the prim path that opinion is ultimately relocated. The strongest variant automatically chosen. The viewer said no. I think B.
The prim path that an opinion is ultimately relocated. Why not C?
Wait, the prim path that an opinion is ultimately relocated during composition. Relocated
C
the
would be
prim.
the answer. Like not B, I would say.
See, the prim path that an opinion is ultimately relocated. Dun, dun, dun.
Like it originates, so it will be a fallback value, right? But value resolution basically resolves the value and computes the final
Wait,
value.
composition index
Is cache
is yeah
memory is
is
not.
cache and it stores the path prim path index and yes see
Mhm. When you
uh
retrieve attributes such as size or display color from a prem, what does that retrieval call actually return? When you retrieve an attribute such as size or display color for a prem, what does that retrieval call actually return? The raw stored value of attribute ready to use without further calls.
I think the string modifying the
What is the retrieval call? Like raw stored value. String name identifying a pointer that yeah but wait, it's
Oh,
gonna
wait,
return
wait, wait, wait.
an object, the attribute object, bro.
When you
Until unless
retrieve an attribute such as
that is,
size or display
yes,
color from a prim, the
it's gonna
attribute object.
give the object, not the other thing. Raw
Mm-hmm.
stored value will only come when you use getter method or setter method to set it. Until then,
Mm-hmm.
it will not return an object.
Mm-hmm.
Free. 20 more to go. Let's go. Let's go.
USD Exchange SDK organized into three main high-level packages. What packages are part of it? I think render side packaging, no, package for checking consistency and correctness is one. Composition package for layering and override, a core package for creating prims and preparing the state.
Asset
An asset
resolution pack.
resolution package for fetching external references. I think B.
Package for creating. Okay, yeah. B. I don't. I think you can mark this one because we can be wrong. Because A could also be an answer. A core. Oh, what the fuck? A composition package for layering and override arcs. But 49th is gonna be correct. 49th is gonna be definitely correct.
Let's see, bro. Among the common pipeline development tasks, what does the responsibility around USDA versus USDC primarily involves? Converting each USDC layer to USDA before delivery, no. Registering a custom resolver that picks the encoding at composition time. Registering a custom resolver that picks, validating that the high level diagram and the detailed graph share one encoding, deciding which encoding is appropriate when writing out layers and telling the team why.
According to the common pipeline development task, what does the responsibility of USDA versus C? I think B would be one of them. Maybe
Only one option, brother.
yeah, one option. So B could be an answer, validating the high level diagram, the detail to share one encoding. I don't know about this. This won't be correct.
Brother,
This
I think it's gonna be A.
A, registering
Yeah.
a custom resolver that picks encoding. No, bro. It's gonna be B then.
Why
If you're
would you
going with
convert USDC layer into USDA before delivery?
to keep. Oh yeah, that also makes sense. So I use it
You're
before
gonna
delivery.
convert USDA to USDC for delivery, bro, not the other way
Among the
around.
common pipeline development of what does the responsibility around USDA versus USDC primarily involve? Validating high level diagram, and the detail graph, share one encoding, deciding which encoding is appropriate when writing out layers and telling the team why. No. C, validating the high level diagram. I think then C would make much more sense because converting each to USD before delivery to keep layers human readable.
Yeah, I think these questions are not that great, bro. I don't know.
Uh, let's go with let's go with C, but I think the answer could be B as well. Let's go with C.
I think answer is A, bro.
Registering a custom solo that picks, yeah, do C for me. Which resource does the node recommend for any of the pipeline development concept it covers? Which resource does the node recommend for any of the pipeline development concept it covers? Haley's open source opinion trace tool, which explains why compose opinion when the USDN production course for SciGraph. What the fuck? Dude, which resource? Dude, this is not a question. Which resource does the node recommend for many of the pipeline development concept it covers? A group prim holds a relationship whose targets are a sphere and a cube. You need to add a cone as a member and drop the cube. Which operation accomplish this? You need to add a cone as a member and drop the cube. I think add a
Add
target pointing.
target pointing to add the cone's path to include it as a new member and interpolate the relationship targets so the cone replaces the Q1. So again, yes,
Yes.
DNE.
Yes, sir.
Two collections each gather several assets together. Two collections each gather several assets together. One forms a meaningful unit of its own, while the other is purely foldering convenience for organization, which kinds applies respectively. The meaningful collection is an assembly, and organizational one is a group. Bro, where the fuck are these mosquitoes coming from? What the fuck? Oh, dude.
You have your window open?
I think there's like a very tiny hole in when those guys installed the AC in my room, I think.
Grab a thermocol or a sheet from, maybe around somewhere. You might find it lying around.
And do what?
You cover it so that
I can't see
mosquitoes
the
don't.
hole. I can't see the hole. I don't know where
Uh,
that hole is.
yeah, that's what. So look at in the daytime. You might be able to see it in the
Yeah.
light sunlight condition. The two
Uh,
collections gather assets together. One forms a meaningful units on its own, while the other is purely foldering convenience for organization. What kinds apply? One forms meaning on its own, while the other is purely foldering convenience. But you're saying collection and organization. One is a group, but I would go with one of them would be component.
what the fuck?
Wait, one is
Component.
meaningful. One form is a meaningful units on its own. It says over there on its own.
Brother, listen, two collections, each gather, read the English. Two collections, each gather
But one
several
form.
assets together, several assets together, each.
Okay.
One forms a meaningful unit
Oh yeah.
of its own.
My bad. My bad. The meaningful collection is an assembly, and the organization one is a group. Yes.
I'm gonna go with it.
A stage authors both a time code per second value and a frames per second value across its session. Root layer when resolving the factor rate, which source has the highest priority. Oh, time code and frame time code should have the highest priority.
This is a good question. I have never seen frames per second.
Same here, but I think time code, like according to the what I have read, value is if you want to
Yeah,
resolve the
time code
value,
would be the highest priority.
time code is the highest. So that's why we're gonna go with this. You can mark this as well. Uh, is someone watching us? Like,
No.
are there any
Oh yeah, there's one guy.
one guy? I think is it Kishan?
I don't think so. Or maybe. I don't know.
Whoever is watching, can you give a shout out?
A
You
studio is
can't.
evaluating OpenUSD's asset resolution layer before building custom resolver.
Or which statement about the asset resolution and default resolver are correct? Which studio is evaluating OpenUSD asset resolution layer before building a custom resolver? Which statement about the asset resolution and default resolver are correct? The studio is evaluating OpenUSD asset resolution layer before building a custom resolver. Which statement about asset resolution and the default resolver are correct? Default resolver compiles the typed Python class for every resolved asset path.
The default resolver compiles the default resolver recognizes custom URL schemes.
No,
No asset paths are resolved once at export. Asset path. Asset paths are resolved once at export time and then cached
I
as
think E,
fixed
the
file.
default one of them could be E. Default resolver supports search path, so a missing production asset can fall back to the staging library.
One should be
E.
D. The default resolver supports search path. So a missing production asset can fall back to a staging library. The default
DNE.
resolver compiles a type Python plus for every resolved asset path. USB delegate each encountered asset path to all registered asset resolver plugins. The USB delegate, you're saying E.
E.
Why?
Because the default resolver supports search paths or missing production asset can fall back to a staging library. That's the goal of default resolver.
Why not
Like
B?
A
USD delegates each encountered asset path to all registered asset resolver plugins.
user delegates each encountered asset path to all registered. But we are talking about default resolver over here. Which the question says this statement about asset resolution default resolver are correct. And I think D would be incorrect because why is D correct first of all? And then cache as a fixed file system location. If you're caching as a fixed file system location, then it's going to break at some point. So I think D is also incorrect. I would say
I
it's
don't
going
know,
to be
bro.
B, and I think it's going to be B and E. In data exchange terminology, how a standalone converter is described tool that bring OpenUSD data to digital content to first plugins for specific C plugins for specific file formats such as one for columnar database format.
Our data exchange on a first standalone converter. No, bro. I think it's gonna be B. You
It's
want to
gonna
go with
be
C?
script of macro that reads specific data. Scripts or microservices. Yeah, let me go with C. I don't know. I think I might be wrong with C. We'll see, and then we will improvise.
However,
What
the move cubes close to a best case for not
first
being heavily impacted by change processing, and what
and what
changes
changes
have
have
more
more?
impact.
Why were the moved cubes close to a best case for not being heavily impacted by change processing? Dude, what the fuck? Why moved cubes? Okay, it's related to
Yeah,
that
it
one.
is incomplete. The question is
Yeah,
incomplete.
but no, but it is related to that million cubes question, so we can try it at least. I think C would be the answer for this. USD were badged by USD notices while registering for object changes removes any impact. I might go with C. Way.
While registering for object changes removes any impact. Let's see. They were backed by USD notices while registering. Okay, why were moved cubes to a best case for not being heavily impacted by change processing, and what changes have more impact? Authored through the Compose USD API, while the lower level SDF API slows processing. There were instance prototypes, while non-instance frames cost more to process. There were leaf changes. Yeah, I think it's gonna be C, but I don't know on this question.
Yeah. Author is
Unauthor is cataloging the ways a material binding can appear in USDA, which two of the following statements correctly describe binding forms or the behavior.
binding with purpose uses proxy or render where proxy is highly qualified or final version. Binding with purpose uses preview or full where preview is a lightweight, faster to render
Yeah,
version.
one is B.
A collection with binding requires a separate material per material prim to take effect. The direct binding can only be authored after collection binding has already been created. Yeah, D can be an answer as well.
A direct
For that,
binding can be authored after collection binding has already
has
been
created.
created. A binding can target a collection, so one material applies to several prisms instead of binding each one individually. Or D.
Hmm.
I think B and D.
All right, let's move on.
With the
Which
instancing debug flag on, you edit a
uh,
prim's instanceable value through the USD views interpreter.
details about
Which
the print?
details does the printed output break down? This layer made the active field change when the prim is deactivated. Mm.
E and C.
Uh, Which prim is being instanced and which prototype is created? How the instance is added to the prim index. For the prototype, which prims are going away during an unload change. You're saying C and E.
Yes.
Which details does the printed output break down? Which prims are going away during an unload change? I don't know, bro. What insight does breaking the pipeline down by its touch points tend to reveal about out of the box DOC importers and exporters?
DC portal, brother.
Oh, sorry, DCC importers and exporters. There are sufficient ones. Workflow diagram has been added into and they become unneeded once producers and consumers share a single layer stack. They should be discarded in favor of a custom asset resolver. At every touch point, they should be discarded in favor of custom asset resolver at every touch point. Uh, what insight does the breaking the pipeline down by its touch points tend to reveal about the box? They may not be the best
See, I
solution. So
think they may
you
not be the best solution. So, like, if we are breaking, then that might be the insight.
this touch point thing is fucking again and again, bro. Like
Yeah, we will see. We will see. Once we complete the quiz, and then we'll take a look at those things as well.
often the only feedback is a visual symptom such as robot appearing black when it should have physically correct material. What is described approach for a process proceeding from that symptom enable the VD workflow also open the composition tab for the root layer and accept first listed as the cause. Figure out which frames are affected, narrow it down, then find what and which layer causes it. Reauthor physically correct materials on the whole robot. Reauthor physically correct and find any.
Open the composition tab for
I
root layer. Accept
think B.
this. Only okay.
Okay, a pipeline manages hundreds of frames that share 10 to 20 materials.
The
They're
material should no longer.
being used anywhere. Which use of relationship fits this scenario? Resolving the material acid. Resolver detaches it from every prim automatically, authoring a stronger over layer so the materials opinion are composited aware on time, setting constant interpolation on the of the programmatic remove the relationship. If on the USD file rather than editing manually resolving the materials asset reference so the resolver detaches it from every prim automatically. Resolving the materials asset reference, so the resolve a pipeline manages hundreds of frames that share 10 to 20 materials. The frame should no longer be used anywhere. Programmatic. Each of these relationship fits scenario. Programmatic removing regular material from
Yeah,
USD file. Yep.
like this is something that I don't know. Like, I'm confused with it, but yeah, C could also be an answer, but I don't know.
Constant interpolation does not make sense, bro.
In mental model, that frame composition
So
arc as a
combination
programming
also
context pairing are correct.
mental
Frame
model that
composition.
frames composition arcs as program constant which pairings are paired specialized corresponding reference corresponding in variants of corresponding
I would
alternative
say payload. I would say payload
e
corresponds to
payload
lazy load.
corresponding loaded imports.
Um,
Mm,
C specializes
yeah.
correspond to fallback or default value. Yeah, 65.
A team
The team
chooses primers and variants to parameterize and are service written correctly characterized primers are described in the content aggregation guidance. Mention no primers store the change cheaply, costly, or no primers require defining discrete sets which should be was
firmware like attributes but can
input
be
stored continuous value rather than discrete options. Sort of continue. Three options, bro.
yeah, yeah. One of them is
Store
E.
change cheaply but cost lands later in the shader. I think
Yeah, B can also be an answer. Firmware because it's doing interpolation. Firmware exposes payload information up into the no. Firmware requires a defined discrete sets to switch between. Do we have discrete sets? Discrete sets are
no.
in variant. I
Suit a
think D.
continuous
Continuous
value
value,
rather
yeah.
than discrete
Not a discrete
option.
option. D. I would go with D.
Yeah, that doesn't. Others don't make sense.
Yeah.
Combining a point instancer with per instance color primbar is described as one of the best primbar tools to learn. Which scenario are given as use cases for this combination? Driving physics simulation with many instances. Three options, right? Driving physics simulation with many instances can be run resolving external PDF references through an asset resolver processing and rendering LiDAR data, building a sensor, the heat map across many instances, sensor heat map across many instances, applying unique information per robot from an IoT stream. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
LiDAR data, I don't know, applying a unique animation per robot. I don't know about robot
Building a
from
sensor heat
IoT.
sensors processing and rendering. Ladder data has multiple points, so BC can also be an answer.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
C, we can go with C. We should go with C and yeah, C. Unique animation for robot from an IoT stream. Stream can also be wait driving. Why would A would be an driving physics simulation with many instances? It's gonna be like prototypes, right? So instances are not
Driving
replicable.
physics simulations with many instances.
So CDE would make much more sense because like point instances is used for usually stream data, as I recall.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
What key skills does the node identify for debugging a process issue across many USD layers? Registering a custom resolver so unexpected data is kept out of the layer, navigating many layers, knowing where data comes from, and
What
tracking
key
risk.
skills does the node identify for debugging process issue across many USD layers? Bro, this quiz is not proper, bro. Like I don't. The questions are
Yeah.
incomplete. I'm
It's
not
fine.
able
What key
to.
skills does the node identify for debugging the process issue across many USD layer? Process issue, flattening a stage, no, recompiling, no, navigating, no, registering a custom resolver. There's a node for debugging the process. I don't know what process issue. Like, what is process issue over here?
Recompiling the language and failing opinion is stripped from the build. Navigating many layers, knowing what data is not, tracking which property a layer changed. Issue across many USD layers. Registering a customer service and unexpected data is kept out of the layers. I think it should be a,
A.
yeah.
I don't know.
An author
Uh,
applies a USD Luxlite API to a plain sphere frame rather than authoring a typed lights. What is the effect of applying this API to the sphere? It adds light related properties, so the sphere emits light without changing prim's type. I think A. No, convert the sphere's type into type. No, it replaces sphere with a newly created
yeah,
circular.
A would be the only one.
The documentation links additional conceptual data mapping references for bringing source data into OpenUSD, which reference are cited. Empty connect.
For automation in manufacturing, OpenPBR for deferring the loading for last minute. I think C, Apache Parquet for resolving external asset references.
You
Like, I
just
don't know.
say that because you have read that
Yes,
somewhere.
brother,
I
I have
know.
read that.
Bro, but that is not gonna help you in the exam tomorrow, bro.
But okay, right now this is what we're simulating right over here. This is the type. These
Documentation
are the type.
links, additional conceptual data mapping references, the documentation links, additional conceptual data mapping references for bringing source data into OpenUSD. Taken Open PBR, defining the loading, Apache PBR, DF,
We can do that. I don't know. Like this is
Taken,
something.
I think Open PBR was for deferring the loading of large payloads. I've seen Open PBR somewhere. Last question. While iterating over a prim's property objects, you need to determine whether each one is an attribute or a relationship. Which approach makes a distinction? Call the author property variant, call property name, listing, call the name accessor. The others marks it as a relationship, call instance test and property checker. I
I
think
think
C. Property name
name
listing.
access are to read whether name
Oh
maps
wait,
with relation.
wait. The call the property names listing, which returns the string names of the attributes only. Oh, it could be B as well.
Yeah.
Authored properties, which return the relationship while filtering our attributes. Each one is an attribute or
Property
uh,
names would give us better because property. You remember property stack and properties, a prim stack. So that's why I'm trying to go with B. All right, time for evaluation and to see where we have shitted.
this quiz I know for sure. Right. Let's see. Oh. ना चोरी ना पलटन All right, bro.
Yeah, bro.
I scored 43, you scored 42.
How much we scored?
I scored 43 and you scored 42.
Crazy shit. Crazy shit. Where
Yeah.
did we went wrong? Let's see. Where are the places?
Hmm.
Bro, I know. I think sometimes Cloud Code fucks up when evaluating, but we will see.
No, it's always right. Like almost always right.
Oh, bro, I have seen Cloud Code fucking up
But it
when I'm.
would like it would not make any difference. Like one or two
Yeah,
questions maybe.
crazy shit.
Mm.
I had confidence that, bro, like we will get it, but fuck us.
You had confidence about what?
I had a confidence that okay, we might get at least like 80%. But fuck, the confidence got crushed like
Now
crazy.
what will you do tomorrow?
Ah, I'm just gonna study on the cheat sheet that I have created. That's it.
Hmm.
Then like review all those.
Where are the questions that were wrong?
Where are the questions? Oh,
Hmm?
it's compiled. No, no. Get reviewed. Dot get ignores. Dude, I got this left-handed mouse. I
Yeah.
mean,
How's it?
shitty as fuck.
It's shitty as fuck.
Yes, brother.
And why did you get it returned?
Yeah, I'm gonna return it. That's why I ordered the trackpad
Mm.
because like this mouse, like first of all, Logitech won't create any left-handed mouse that I want.
Mm-hmm.
So the only good option is being getting a trackpad. That's why I'm getting a trackpad. I'm gonna return this soon. Like for time being, until I get my trackpad, I'm gonna use this, and then I'm gonna return this product.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like $20 mouse, so okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What?
Oh, what is it saying?
What is what?
What is it saying over there?
It's creating a PDF, bro, for us to
Well,
review all the questions that were wrong with the explanation and all the unsure questions as well. Output quiz.
where is it? Ask it to open it. It can open it as well. Ask it to
Quiz
open it.
output wrong. So,
Uh-huh.
mm,
Correct answer C. You dude. Did we left anything blank? Oh yeah, this was
might
the one
have.
regarding relocate. So yeah, this was definitely gonna be skipped. Okay, 16th.
What was it? People do not always say.
Dude, it was related to relocates.
Uh,
Oh
During
yeah, this is
Hydra plugin development, during Hydra
yeah.
plugin development, different delegates and plugins can interplay and produce unexpected results. How does the tracing and debug messages all?
Mm. It helps you see where your plugin fits and debug the issue on the Hydra side. Hmm. For Hydra plugin development, when different delegates or plugins interplay, you can get unexpected results. And tracing these messages help you see where your plugin fits and debug issues on the Hydra. Confirming an environment variable is the role of plugin registration. So it helps you see where your plugin fits. How does tracing the debug messages help? It helps you see where your plugin fits and debug issues on the Hydra side. I see. What are you looking at?
Reels.
I see. Next question, brother.
What? All right. Let's see this, bro. Bro, I've been looking at this fucking thing for like 4 hours now. I don't want to do this now.
No worries, brother.
Hmm?
More, I think more 6 hours, and then 2 hours of the exam, and then
Mm.
the page will decide, and our effort will decide whether we have to look at it more or not right away.
Mm. I think they're gonna decide it in 1 day or something like that, right?
How is it? I thought they were gonna give you instant.
No, I don't think so.
Fuck. I was like, they're gonna fuck us right over there, bro. Fuck you, bitch.
Let me see. Mm. Yeah, look at this. You'll be informed of your results on screen at the end of the exam and by email. It can. Oh, okay. No, we are gonna get the results right there.
Yeah, you're gonna get your result, and then they're just gonna verify that if you have cheated or something like that.
No, I don't think
Open.
they're gonna verify that. I think that is going to be proctored on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm saying, they're gonna fuck us in our ass right over there. Fuck you. All right, bro. Let's go back to the one.
Oh
Which one?
wait, NVIDIA certification exams are pass/fail. You won't receive a score.
Fuck. Wait. Then how did our subscriber?
He never told us what he scored. He just said he
No, no,
couldn't pass.
75%.
No, he never said that. I don't think he said
Oh,
that. Mm. Mm. Read it, bro. What do you want to read?
21.
Did you understand this?
I'm gonna go through the Hydra again, bro, to take a look. I just went through the answer to help you see where your plugin fits and debug issues on the Hydra.
I'll be back 1 second. I'll be back 1 second. Yeah, can you hear me? Yo, yo, hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
okay. Hmm. So I think, should we waste our time in this or should we?
Let's go through our option that we went wrong first. That's the only focus.
All right. All right. What was the answer over here? It helps you see where your plugin fit and debug issue on the Hydra side. Can interplay and produce unexpected results. How does the tracing debug message help you? It helps you with where your plugin fits and debug issues on the
On the
Hydra side. For Hydra plugin development, when different delegates or plugins interplay, you can get unexpected results. And tracing these messages help you see where your plugin fits and debug issues on Hydra side. Confirming an env var is the role of plug registration, batching changes, describes change blocks, and selecting winning opinion. This question tests Hydra plugin debugging using TF debug trace messages. The node explains that USD hides debugging information behind debug symbols, debug flags that you turn on, and there are dedicated lower level groups for USD imaging and Hydra, so you can understand rendering. During Hydra plugin development, different delegates and plugins interplay and can produce unexpected results, and tracing these messages help you see where your plugin fits and debug issues on Hydra sides. The answer is it helps you see where your plugin fit and debug issues on Hydra side. Okay. The node distinguishes the different things you may need to debug in a USD context. Which two situations does it describe? So, a process issue where someone authored unanticipated data you must trace to its source, a USD application or script that outputs something wrong. So the node distinguishes in different things, the different things you may need to debug in the USD context. Which two situation does it describe? And things, different things you may need to debug. Okay. The two situations described something wrong and a process issues where something or unanticipated. You must trace through the layers, drop frames, and resolver failures, and validation rejections and are not situations. Okay. This question does whether a node what the node actually lists as two distinct kinds of debugging situations in USD. The debugging and troubleshooting domain names exactly two things you may need to debug: a USD application or script that outputs something wrong, and a process issue where someone authored something that was not anticipated or planned. Okay. Which you must trace through USD layers to find where the data came from and who authored it and why. That is the correct pair, C and B.
USD application script
Okay.
that outputs something wrong. Hmm.
24. Select two options in the demo that move through a million cubes. Which statement of a scene and measured results are correct? Your answer is A and E. Answer is B and C. The scene held more prims and cubes than cubes due to intermediate X-form grouping rows and columns. The knife traversal that moved each cube took up to 10 seconds. Yeah, how would we know about this?
The question tests the specifics of million cube change processing the demo and its measured result. The note says a 3D grid of roughly 1 million cube was built, but there were more prims in the cube because the intermediate expand grouped the rows and columns, so it was not 2 million cubes. Oh, I had okay.
I'm gonna skip this one. I don't know what the fuck the question is asking. The knife
Image.
traversal took about 10 seconds and the scene held more frames than cubes because intermediate X form grouped rows and columns. This question tests the specifics of million cube change processing demo. Yeah, I don't know. The note says a 3D grid of roughly 1 million cubes was built that were prims, blah blah blah, intermediate X form grouped. Okay. Converting fidelity of level or detail should be chosen with the final application in mind. Let me sacrifice some level of detail. Wow. Data exchange. A web app may want high quality rendering of the browser. Bro, I think the first quiz was better. This was shit. Has just made questions on I don't know what.
Which still failed it.
Hmm?
We still fail. Like we
No, but the
got
questions are, bro. I if the questions would have been appropriate, we would have gotten it correct. I don't know what it's trying to ask over here for rough million cubes. I have no idea what it is talking about.
let's go with it. Convert okay. What to convert the fidelity or the level of detail should be chosen with the final application in mind. Which statement reflects that guidance? A mobile app that may sacrifice some level of detail. A web app want high
May
quality.
want high quality rendering in a browser.
Converting fidelity. Dude, a mobile app that may sacrifice some level of detail. Holy shit! We chosen which statement reflects the guidance. And a web
Concept.
app.
Let's see. This question test cover converted fidelity or level of detail as deliberate for application design choice in data exchange pipeline. The note says you should choose fidelity in the final application in mind because different consumers on the same source need different things. It gives to concrete example. Web app may want high quality rendering in the browser while may sacrifice some level of detail to fit its constraints. That is why exactly B while they are node's own example. Bro, I don't know. Okay. So the high-level debug flags cover high-level USD APIs. Which lower-level areas does this note you can drop into with the debug flags? Uh, First of all, let me see what is PCP. Come take me home. Bury me. I am finished with you.
Prim cache population.
Hmm.
Interesting.
It is the system that figures out which layers, references, payloads, variants, inherit, specializes, and sublayers contribute to the to this prim. Prim cache population, USD's low level composition engine. It does not author scene data, it does not create geometry, it does not render anything. It builds the composition recipe that USD stage uses. Big picture, SDF, raw layer data, USDA, USDC. Prim PCB composition engine. Okay, and now what is the question over here? SDF raw ingredients, recipe, builder, final cooked meal. Yeah, PCP computes prim index. So prim index is the composition graph for one prim. It answers for world share where do all its opinions come from.
And
The high-level debug flags cover high-level USD APIs. Which lower-level areas does the note say you can also drop into with debug flags? So Hydra to understand rendering and PCP for lower-level handling. PCP and Hydra. Why beyond the high-level USD APIs, you can drop into PCP for lower-level handling of the prim index and can change processing, and into USD imaging and Hydra to understand rendering. The layer stack tab is a USD view panel with while change blocks and USD-RT are performance tools, none of which are lower-level debug flag groups. Hmm.
I had to understand rendering. What the fuck? Why not in SGF change blocks? We can also drop in SGF change block. What the fuck?
Bro, SDF change block is a Python function or a Python utility function, I think.
But
You
it's a
cannot
lower
drop
level.
it.
It's a lower level API though, right? It's a lower level API.
But
PCB is also.
how would you Beyond, you can draw PCB for lower level handling and change processing, and into USD imaging and Hydra to understand rendering. The layer stack tab is a USD view panel, while change blocks and USD-RT are performance tools.
But it doesn't talk about SDF change block over there. See, where does it say SDF change block is not a correct answer as well? Because SDF change block is definitely used for that as well, as of I recall.
Hmm.
Ask ChatGPT. Can SDF change block be used for the same? Like Hydra, like you are basically putting it into the whole application. Yeah.
PCP for lower level handling of the prim index and change processing. Hydra to understand rendering. Why
Mm-hmm.
C is correct. PCP is USD's lower level composition engine. It deals with things like prim indexes, composition arcs, layer stacks, change processing, composition errors. So if high level USD debug output is not enough, you can go lower into PCP to understand why a prim composed the way it did. USD high level stage prim API, lower level composition machinery. The study guide explicitly lists debugging profiling tools like TF debug diagnostic and also references PCB prim cache population under debugging resources. Okay, why E is correct. Hydra is USD's imaging and rendering architecture. You drop into Hydra level debugging when the problem is not just what
Just
does the
what
USD stage say, but instead what the data is the renderer actually receiving. What did the scene index render delegate see? Why does it look wrong in the viewport render? Hmm. OpenUSD's Hydra scene debugger is specifically for inspecting Hydra scene data, including Hydra prim and data after scene transformation like instancing resolution have been applied. What the wait. But instead what data is the renderer actually receiving? You drop into Hydra level debugging when the problem is not just what does the USD say, what data is rendered actually receiving, what did scene index render delegate see, why does it look wrong in the viewport render? Oh, and then why others are wrong. So USDRT for run, yeah, I know this, runtime performance in Kit. Not lower level debug flag area described here. USDRT, faster runtime USD like manipulation, not primarily the debug flag layer for composition render diagnostics. The layer stack tab is useful, but it is USD view inspection UI, not lower level TF debug flag area. Layer stack tab visual inspection tool, not debug flag subsystem. SDF change blocks, SDF change block. What were you saying? Why SDF is not correct, right?
yeah, I'm just
SDF
saying about
changelog is a batching performance tool for grouping scene description edits. It is not lower level debug target described by the note. SDF changelog batch edits not drop into debug flags. Final exam memory, lower level debug flag areas. Hmm. PCP composition internal is a batching and performance tool, bro. Group. This is what I was saying. SDF changelog is a batching and performance tool for grouping
uh,
scene description edits. It is not a lower level debug target.
I see.
Batch edits, not drop into debug flags. Layer stack tab B is wrong because layer stack tab is useful, but it is USD view inspection UI, not lower
Yeah,
level
this
TF
is
debug
what we
area.
already.
So only
Yeah.
Hydra and PCP are correct. Now I get it. Okay. How does Omniverse Kit make use of USD notice mechanism? It uses notices heavily to respond to changes user make interactively. Okay. How does Omniverse Kit?
These notices act heavily to respond to changes. It uses notices heavily to respond to the changes every user makes interactively. Hmm. Omniverse kit, bitch. Notices heavily to respond to changes user makes.
Bro, I think we
Uh,
should start making our projects from tomorrow.
for sure. First, after the quiz, we will see what happens.
Yeah, I know, bro. We are gonna get it. Either that or we are gonna reschedule it for another day. So
Yeah,
either way, we can start doing projects.
yeah, we will.
I mean, I want to start playing around with Mojoko and Isaacsim and all that.
Sure, sure, brother.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Omniverse Kit uses USD notice mechanism as live update systems for apps, extension, UI panels, manipulators, and viewport systems. It uses live updates for apps. Okay, uses heavily respond changes for okay. Excuse me.
USD state changes, USD notices dot object change limited. Kit extension receives the notice, kit updates. UI selection rules, viewport, cache, hierarchy, or enter. Kit is built around an active USD stage, move a prim, change in attribute, select an object, load, unload of payloads, add, remove from, switch variants, and edit transforms. I see.
Notices object changes emitter, kit extension receives notice, kit app updates UI selection, notices heavily to respond to changes users make interactively. Okay, got it. Oh, this one was correct for me and wrong for you, I think.
The relation to target weight. What is it?
The metadata in OpenUSD can be defined at distinct levels. At which levels can metadata be authored? The layer level where default prim is built in, metadata level, metadata value, the attribute level, including on custom attributes you created, the prim level, where standard and custom metadata apply.
It applies.
Yeah, I was telling you this was gonna be layer level.
I see. Rain dark layer weight target carries its own metadata block.
Let me
Hmm.
confirm this though. This is an important. I think I'm gonna go on a run before giving the quiz tomorrow
Nice.
so that my brain is active.
Crazy shit.
Honest opinions. I'm gonna discuss with ChatGPT what's the best, approach. Pull-up
Dude,
bar was one of the best decisions. What?
MacBook, sorry, Apple is launching M5. What is
Yeah,
it?
Ultra.
Ultra 750 gigs.
I know. This year
Holy
end.
shit.
I might buy that.
For sure, brother, for sure.
3K.
For sure.
3K.
I'm waiting for you to buy that thing. You know how much will it be?
3,000, I know.
My ass, it's gonna be 3,000. Dude, it's 750 gigs. The base would be 3,000. It would be at least 45 grand.
What?
Yes, brother.
$45,000.
Yes, brother. It's
750
Apple.
gigs what RAM
Yes.
for local LLMs.
Yes.
I see. But that is worth an investment, bro.
Oh, for sure, bro. Put 40 grand, right? Yes, yes, definitely. Put 40 grand. Mac Studio.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, I will try to. What's better? Get a job at Apple. Then you can get all those perks for free.
You get a discount, but I don't think you get free stuff.
Yeah, you definitely get free stuff for your because dude, you would be working on their stuff.
Testing.
Make sure that yes,
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm, looking forward to. Like, either get like a job at the Vision Pro thing. That would be sick because OpenUSD is used for
wait,
Vision
I'm
Pro
gonna let me
development.
write up 96 gig and I will let me do 16 terabyte maxing it out. No trade in, dude. If you're doing 96 gigs, the cost goes to 13 grand, right?
Mm.
And if it's gonna be 768 gigs, it's gonna be at least 30 or 40 grand for sure. At least it could be higher because I do remember there was a Mac Pro that was launched with this big, right? It was in our FSU Soldier library as well. So that system costed like 50 grand at least because it has I think 512 gigabytes of memory.
Mm.
So dude, it's gonna be really costly.
Mm.
All right. Yeah, next one.
Bro, first look at this. This is
Layer
about
level, activity level, trim level.
the
Okay,
clean rule
basically,
is okay. Wait, let me. The clean rule is OpenUSD metadata can all be authored on layers, prims, and properties. Properties include attribute and relationships. So the broader answer is layer metadata, prim metadata, and property metadata. I see.
broader
Mm.
answer.
So A is correct. Layer level metadata. USD layer can have a metadata. So where the default yeah, bro, I was telling you this is where the metadata exists for the default prim and everything. And then here default prim are layer level metadata. Okay. So yes, the default prim is authored as a layer metadata. B is correct. Attribute level metadata. Attribute can have metadata too, including custom attributes, custom level, blah blah blah. Display name, surface temperature, disk documentation, temperature valued at simulation exporter. Here the attribute is temperature. And the metadata, that attribute is display name and documentation. So yes, attribute can carry metadata. Custom attributes can also carry metadata. Alright, D is correct. Prim level metadata. Prim can also have metadata. So wait, attribute can have metadata. Like here, attribute is temperature. Custom double temperature. So temperature is a metadata. Surface temperature. Okay. And the metadata on the attribute is here. The attribute is temperature, and the metadata on the attribute is display name and documentation. Okay. Attribute metadata. So yes, attribute can carry metadata. Custom attributes can also carry metadata. Uh-huh. Custom attributes you created. Okay. D is correct. Prim level metadata. Prims can also have metadata. So prim is this. So prim can definitely have metadata.
Yes.
Kind and acid info and everything. Here, kind and acid info are prim level metadata. C is wrong. Composition arc level. Composition arc include this. Yes. E is wrong. Relationship level target level. Example is on relationship property. So relationship property cannot have a
You don't know, it says it can have a metadata as properties.
where.
Relationship can have, it says relationship can have metadata as properties.
Yes,
Can have, but it can have it as metadata as properties.
but each individual target does not carry its own separate metadata block. Wrong mental model. But wait, then it should be correct.
No, but its own
Oh,
metadata.
okay. It's also saying where target each target carries its own metadata block.
Like if
So that is incorrect.
yeah.
I see. This is how your relationship. So relationship itself can have metadata. Relation target path does not have its own metadata block. Clean exam memory, metadata levels in OpenUSD, layers, default prim, kind acid info, property attributes, relationships, and display name. Final answer correct. Yes. Okay, got it. Pipeline development beyond integrating non-native and documenting asset structure, which additional responsibilities listed among the common pipeline development tasks? Um, what beyond integrating non-native and documenting asset structure, which additional responsibility are listed among the common pipeline development tasks? Understanding custom asset is always integrate version control or asset management, representing custom data and metadata which overlap with customizing USD. So answer is A and D. We did tracing PCP index. Okay. Which overlap with customizing USD domain.
Are listed among common pipeline development tasks representing custom data and metadata which overlap with their understanding common asset resolvers to integrate a version control or asset management system. Okay, so custom asset resolver to integrate a version control. That is one of the pipeline development tasks. It says on representing custom data, toggling a prem node. Okay, so it's
Mm,
custom pipeline, but it's we call common pipeline. Okay, okay. So in a pipeline, we can also do custom data management and metadata. Okay, because yes, tracing BCP index is a low language, lower level task.
you can hear it.
What?
Oh, it's fine. These jobless motherfuckers.
What I bro? 33.
You get this.
Yeah, bro. Like we got it wrong because we were unaware that these are the things that can be done as well. Like the second thing, I don't know, custom data, and then I'm trying to infer why, and then representing custom data and metadata which overlaps with customizing USD domain. Like that can also be one of the pipeline development tasks. Tracing PCP is like low level. Why are we doing asset resolver right now?
I just want to make something sure in relation to pipeline development. Understanding custom asset resolver to integrate a version control or asset management system representing custom data and metadata which overlap with customizing USD domain. Okay. 34. When mapping the touch points of the USD pipeline, how should the producer and consumer roles be understood for a given participant? A single participant may be both a producer and a consumer, depending on the touch point. What the fuck is a touch point? But the note states that a producer can also be a consumer, so the same participant can fill both roles. Okay, roles are not fixed. The whole pipeline producers are not limited to the originating modeler, and the consumer should contribute only their own work rather than re-outputting an upstream asset. Mm. The question tests the producers and consumer roles when mapping pipeline touch points. The note states directly that producers can also be consumers using the examples of Ashley modeling a waste producer that you then receive and shared, meaning you consume her waste. I don't know what the fuck. Okay, let me read this first. In USD pipeline, do you understand this question?
No, bro, nothing.
Okay, wait. In USD pipeline development, the asset resolver is the layer that answers when USD sees an as authored asset path, what real resource should it load? What real resource should it load in API terms? This is, oh my god, bro. In his AR/AR resolver system, OpenUSD describes AR resolver as the interface responsible for resolving asset information, including the asset's physical path from logical path to simple mental model, authored USD path. Is this asset or AS pipeline rules, database, and version context? Okay. Rules, database, and version context. Resolve location. Studio projects how show assets. Chairs v042 chair.usd. So the USD file can store a clean stable identifier. And FX form chair, prepend references, asset prop chair, while the resolver decides what the means that means today. Why this matters in the pipeline without an asset resolver, artists and tools often write hard-coded file paths, prepend references this. That works, but this is brittle. If the asset moves, the change storage version updates or another site opens the file, those paths may break. With resolver, you can author something stable. Oh, okay. Let the pipeline resolve differently depending on context. So asset short 10, asset share, okay, asset share. And that reference asset versions can be embedded directly in the assets identifier or derived from external context through AR asset resolver library, where asset paths appear in USD sublayers. Okay. Okay. OpenUSD docs say asset paths are used extensively throughout USD, including sublayers, references, and payloads. NVIDIA's glossary also notes that USD has a specialized asset string type and uses at the rate syntax for asset valued strings. Okay. I'm definitely sure there is going to be a question on change processing and AR resolver and the SDF
Mhm.
change block. I'm pretty sure there are going to be 2, 3 questions related to these topics.
Mhm.
We need to start it at 6 or we can start it before that as well.
I don't know.
You can start this exam at the scheduled time or cancel the reservation up to 24 hours in advance by navigating to Certiverse. Okay, reservation code is this date and time. Bro, I hope nobody is doing the OpenUSD certification right now.
What do you mean?
I hope this certification is so rare that we are actually, getting some value.
First, we should get the certification and then we will look for the value.
Yeah, you're right. Let's focus. All
Yeah.
in, lock in.
We need to keep a
Lock
framework
the fuck in.
and touch point typical like framework given instead pipeline architect uses touch point informally to mean the specific frame layers or composition arcs that other systems are supposed to read or write. Typical touchpoint kinds in practice, touchpoint usually shows the entry point print, the prints that downstream tools open by default and treat as the main reference to asset. An asset layer, root layer whose purpose is to be referenced or opened, often lofting parameters. Information are moved
We are integrating. Okay, wait.
Okay, and the question was, dude, it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, so what do you
So
want
what,
to?
brother? So what? So I still have to wake up. Trying to wake up early, brother, again.
What do you want to do? End the stream?
Yes, brother, end the stream at 3 a.m. and then we can carry on this and then just share with this PDF as well. I was just going to the touch points. The touch point. Fuck. What the fuck? Asset resolver, touch points, and what are all the things that we are missing? Make sure to go through the uh, code base API as well, right?
Code base. What?
Like code snippets.
Oh, cheat sheet. This. I've
Cheat
created
sheet.
this.
Yeah, make sure to go through this thoroughly because these are some of the questions that they might ask.
Mm-hmm.
Say, hey, what is the error in this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bro, you can never be completely prepared. That is
But
the
the thing,
reality of
so the
life.
thing is, the only thing to me is if there is a question that
Mm.
is based on this, it's gonna hurt me a lot. Like I'm gonna regret it a lot. That why because that question is gonna be really confusing at this point. If you're not thorough with the code snippets, that question is gonna hurt a lot.
Mm.
and
That's
and
fine,
I'm
bro.
definitely expecting one or two questions from this. So like each and every question counts, like even touch points, assets, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because like in the video, the guy told us that okay, you might get open USD code, and then some in that code there might be some blabber
Bro,
shit
I
as
think he
well.
was talking about the USDA code, not the
Yes,
Python
yes,
code.
but there are gonna be Python snippet as well. The C++
Yeah,
snippet
bro.
as well.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think they are gonna be like 20 questions for Python.
No, no, I know 20, not 20, but each questions matter, brother. Each
Yeah,
questions
bro.
matter.
Yeah. So the thing is, you need to decide now. You don't have like 5 or 7 days. You have
I know. I'm
12
just trying
hours.
to.
If you think you can memorize Python code in the next 12 hours.
You can at least get the basic syntax, like okay, what is the
Yeah,
argument
we
trying to
already
get?
know the syntax, bro. Dot set, dot get, and
No, sometimes you might miss it, dude. Sometimes you might miss it. That is a problem. Like dots and dot, that thing is easy. But for example, XForm common API, what are you gonna pass in it? Prim. You're gonna pass prim in it. How many parameters does it take? So those are the things. Did you send me this PDF?
yes.
Uh, where is it? Is it oh yeah, it's over here. Wrong. I'm sure.
All right, it's 3. What do you want to do?
Yeah, let's end the stream and then we can focus on time. Fuck. Touch points. What the hell, bro? Useful way to think. The touch point is any used element the event is for the card. Is the stream ended?
No, not yet.
Mm.
All right, nobody's watching anyway. Fuck him.
The people are gonna watch once we get the certification, brother.
They're gonna be like,